Well, as we all prepare for the beautiful summer days ahead, our Detroit is taking a closer look at one thing, beer. And here today to talk all about beer and the future of Detroit's craft brewing industry is Ryan Patrick Hooper, our Detroit contributor and the host of Culture Shift on 101.9 FM. That's WDET, Detroit's NPR station. And Harry Weaver III, co-founder of the Brews Brothers. Good morning, Ryan and Harry, and thank you both for waking up with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on the show.
Thank you for having us.
And cheers, Ryan. It's not even noon yet, but I see that you're already starting. Let's talk about beer. Let's talk about our Detroit's May issue. Tell me all about it.
I'm so jealous.
Me too.
I know there's a lot of people out there jealous, and it's a lifestyle. You know, you can choose it. So yeah, the whole idea with this cover story we did for Our Detroit magazine was, what are the stories in craft beer that aren't being told? You know, who are the people that are making this beer that aren't getting the spotlight they deserve? And what are the diversity issues inside of craft beer? And there's a lot of diversity issues inside of craft beer. It's a very monochrome, white, flannel-wearing industry. So I wanted to find the voices out there that are trying to change that. And that's when Harry Weaver came into my life, and it's never been better.
You know, you talk about that kind of stereotype of what that industry looks like. So talk to me, and Harry, we're going to talk to you in just a second, but how you approached this issue, Ryan, with that in mind, knowing that that's the stereotype that exists.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not about my perspective on it. It's about letting the voices who do want to say something about it have a platform. And I wasn't seeing that happen. So it was finding someone like Harry Weaver, who has been really advocating for more diversity, more inclusion. You know, he was advocating for that before it was a trendy thing to advocate for. And also finding female brewers who were doing the work in the brew house and not getting the credit for it. Percentage-wise, there are very few Black front of house, minority front of house workers in craft beer or behind the scenes. Same thing with women. So I wanted to find groups like Fermenta here in Southeast Michigan, which is a nonprofit group that's helping give scholarships to women to be able to study in craft beer and have a bigger role in this industry and break through some of the stigma, some of the lack of diversity that's there.
And obviously, I know Our Detroit has featured Brews Brothers as part of this partnership. So, Harry, I want to talk to you. What do you think Detroit is doing to lead the way to create a more diverse and inclusive future for craft brewing? And what do you think needs to change?
I mean, we have some local spots that are very, very proactive right now in terms of diversifying their front of house staff, as well as their production staff. We have places like Ferndale Project, Batch, Eastern Market Brewing, Brew Detroit. All of these places are very intentional about diversity within their staff, and whether it be production, front of house, whatever the case might be. And also, the idea is that it has to be intentional. And this is what I tell people all the time when I talk about diversity and inclusion. It doesn't just happen. If we sit here and expect things to happen organically, we really end up with the same result that we've had from day one. And so being proactive and putting things in place to push the envelope in that way is the only way that anything is going to change. And some of the folks that I just mentioned are doing exactly that.
And Harry, you mentioned the intentionality, and I want to talk to you about what you think people who aren't in the industry can do, just consumers. What can average everyday people do when we go out to a bar? How can we improve inclusion and diversity in the craft brew industry?
So as a consumer, I don't know how much as an individual you can do to create that diversity, with the exception of try new places and be that person that makes that crowd more diverse. Typically, people think of going out for drinks after work means going to get a glass of wine, or whatever at somebody's bar, which is great. But people don't always think of beer in that same vein. When in fact beer is just as complex, just as varied, and in my own opinion, better than wine. But I say all of that to say, when this tapestry of people that, go out for drinks after work or just go out socially for drinks, when they start going to breweries and places like that, then organically from an intentional act, those tapestries start to look different. So if you have, a collection of ladies that you go out with on occasion, go to a Batch Brewery one evening, and now there are, 4 more ladies there than would be on a regular night. Or go to Brew Detroit, and there's 4 more ladies that that'll be there than would have normally been. So that really is the best way as an individual. Get your people together and go.
Really important work that the two of you are doing. We are unfortunately out of time. We have to head to break, but here's where you can learn all about the latest issue of Our Detroit, all about beer, and where you can learn information about this important initiative. Thank you so much for joining us. Ryan Patrick Cooper, Our Detroit contributor, and Harry Weaver III, co-founder of the Brews Brothers. Thanks so much for your time.
Have a great day.
We'll be right back.